Scary sharp is a term for sharpening, but it's using a product that was designed for micro finishing in the metalworking and fine engineering industry. What we have here is 6 grits, starting from a P180, a P360, P800, P1500, P2000, up to the fine pink grade actually, which is more for polishing of fibre optics. This is more like the 8000 grit. We can use these from a grinding, producing a first bevel onto a secondary bevel, and then micro finishing or putting a micro polished edge on our finest and sharpest of chisels and plane blades. It's an aluminium oxide abrasive with a PSA, pressure sensitive adhesive backing, which makes it ideal for sticking down to our polycarbonate plates or glass or a granite slab, anything that is very, very flat. This is a quick cutting abrasive, but putting it onto a polycarbonate also keeps it flat. Ideal is quick abrasive and staying flat. You'll get 3 strips of scary sharp that will fit onto our plates. So rather than cutting through the side where the abrasive is, you're going to knacker your knife straight away, flip it over, mark out 3 equal parts, which is basically 76 millimeters wide, 152, and the remainder is going to give you pretty much 76 mil. I'm going to use my Tajima straight edge, use my stainless steel side of it, drop it on the scary sharp, use a Stanley or similar kind of knife to cut through onto a cutting board, not onto your silicone mat. Depending on which set of our scary sharpening you buy, you could buy them as individual pieces of scary sharpening, buying them as a set, buying them with polycarbonate plates, buying them with also our AUK non-slip mat, so you can set them up and use them on this. For my demonstration today, I've got them set up actually on silicone. I want to keep my water or my cutting fluid away from my bench top. You could use your scary sharp freehand sharpening or honing, but I think, to be honest, it's much better suited for using a honing guide. This is our AUK honing guide. This is our Veritas honing guide. The Veritas is ideally suited for scary sharpening because as you progressively go up through the grits, you can progressively, by turning this knob which lifts the blade, you can actually progressively lift the blade and get more and more of a finer edge right on the tip where it needs to be sharp. When using the honing guide for plain blades, it now sits in the top part of the jig, and the projection should be 38 millimeters for a 30-degree sharpen. When using our scary sharp, we need to use some kind of cutting fluid. You could use plain water, but be very careful things don't start to rust. If you want to use water, then I'd add in some of this gold. This will stop your tools from rusting. We also use this particularly on the Tormek. The Tormek's a fantastic bit of kit, but what you don't want to do is get those internal components rusting. Water can be used as your cutting fluid, but far quicker, and I think about 3 times quicker, is this HomeRite #1. This is a product produced in the UK. It's a very, very good cutting fluid and ideal for doing our scary sharpening. I'm going to use our HomeRite #1 as my cutting fluid for my scary sharp. So I'm just going to put some on the plate here. I'm going to start down a relatively coarse abrasive because I've got quite a bit of steel to be removed. This wheel is nice and narrow, which means we can actually use it and get a little bit of a camber on this blade by rocking it left to right. So I'm just going to hold him on here, backwards and forwards, a bit of pressure on the left, a bit of pressure on the right. And I only want to do my back and forwards until I can start feeling fresh steel all the way across the blade. That's already done that blade. I now need to move up to the next finer abrasive, and that's going to remove the scratch marks put in by the coarser abrasive. And basically sharpening, you're just going up through the grits until you get the finer and finer for the best, sharpest edge. The backing film that came off the back of the scary sharp, I keep that, tear it to small pieces, and you can use that with a rare earth magnet to pick out any swarf that might be in the abrasive. I'm going to take the blade out and back him off on the 2 finest abrasives. Nice and flat, hold him down, and hold him down again. If you want to look at more detail into our AUK honing guides or our Veritas honing guides, check us out on woodworkersworkshop.co.uk and look at our social media channels.